excited to introduce our guest today. He is the owner of Palmetto Pooper Scoopers, and he is here to show us his backstory, his research, and his history, all on trademarks. This is a super important topic for us in the pet care industry that picked a name just because it sounded great and didn't do much else about it. So Courtney here is going to fill us in and give us all the deets. How are you today, Courtney?
Oh, I'm fantastic. How you doing today, Natasha?
I am doing well. So I heard your story on our partner's Pet Sitter Confessional, and you talked all about your business and what you've been doing and how you've been doing and how you've been running the successful pooper scooper business, which I love. But people didn't hear the part that I heard, what was your trademark story. And that is like, I guess it's the coach in me that was like, we need to get on that topic. So I was so happy to reach out to you to get you on our summit to kind of go through that. And excuse my dogs, it's a dog life in here, so they'll be doing their thing. So can you kind of tell us your story and your previous name and your new name and how that all came about?
Yes. In 2005, October 17th to be exact, I started out as Poop Busters, and it kind of came about when I was starting the business. Like I said, I was watching Ghostbusters and just trying to, spitballing names, and I was like, oh, Poop Busters, it stick. And I ran with it. I had got everything started up, my EIN, got registered with the state and all that good stuff. And I was about 6 months or so in business and came across an email when I got the call from this other company who had already trademarked the name. And they called me and basically told me I had to cease business, change the business name, or pay them royalties for actually using the name. And that's just something I never wanted to do. So long story short, I went and changed the name, and I started kind of asking some friends and stuff and started brainstorming about different names I can use. And I came up with
Let me stop you right there so we can break it into pieces. So you were operating in business already for 6 months, right?
Oh, yes, at least at the minimum. Yes.
Okay, so you're in business for 6 months, on your grind, doing your thing, ready for your new business venture. And next thing you know, you got the cease and desist letter. Is that what I heard?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And the call as well.
And the call. Okay. So you got the letter and the call. Tell me how you felt when that happened. Like, put us in your mind frame when that all went down.
The mind frame was really kind of a little shocked. And honestly, I felt like I should have did the research before actually starting the business, because I didn't do any research on, trademarks and stuff before. And I just figured you start a business, you think of it with a creative name, run with it. And that's what I did. And they stopped me like a 10-foot brick wall real quick.
It's not funny, but this is what we all go through, right? It's like we all just pop up, think of something cute, and keep it going until we're like, wait a minute, somebody may or may not have already had that name. So this is so important. I'm so happy that you're on. So tell us what happened next.
So then, like I said, I started the process, see what I could do, and I just didn't want to pay them any royalties. And I always just believe that if I start something, I want to do it with all of my own and just create something for myself and make it my own versus building off somebody else's name or brand. Because long story short, down the line, they might want to go a different way than what I believe in. And I don't want to feel like I'm having to, bend how I feel about certain things in business aspects just to go with the flow of somebody else's vision. And after that, I kind of, like I said, I went around with the names and started to change names. And I already had clients as well, so that would made it a little complicated. But I explained to them as well what was going on, and a bunch of them was like, well, just stay with the name. And I was like, no. I was like, it's different. I'm building something for myself and my family, so I can't just right off the bat and work with somebody else on. I want to build my own. And that's when I started to look for the process, what I needed to do to change the business name and get everything registered again. And it was a little bit of a headache, and it wasn't too much difficult of a process. But one thing you would have to do is go back to the state house and actually file for amendment. And that's when you can actually change your business name to the one that you actually wanted to in that process, if that do that.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about that process. So if we were going to get a business and we wanted to trademark it, make sure, we are protected, you're protected, what's a few quick steps that we need to do to make sure we can trademark our business?
The first step I would recommend is definitely going to check out the trademark electronic search system, and that is on the USPTO.gov website, which is United States Patent and Trademark Office.gov. And if you go on there, you can search different business names, entities, and things of that such that is already registered. So that way you can avoid that pitfall that I did and just starting a business and not doing the research first. Because, like I said, that can cost you very much some time, headache, and money. And
Yeah.
all. And one thing we know is all as business owners and small business owners, you try to definitely cut your costs and limit the overhead. So, definitely doing the research there would definitely help you get a good start out on getting your trademark for your business as well.
Okay.
Yes.
So you pick a name, you go on the website, you search it, you see if it's been taken or not taken, and then what?
And then you can choose two different ways. You can file the paperwork yourself, or you can hire a law firm, someone that deals with that, which is really fairly simple to hire them. And the paperwork is very long and quite, let's say, difficult if you don't know all the legal terminology. So if you had to do this yourself and you're inexperienced, don't have any law degree, anything, or like law person personally, I recommend getting a lawyer just to help you probably go through with it. I'm sure they only charge you a small minimum fee for their time, and that way you can make sure you file it properly. And the fee typically costs anywhere from about, I think, 275 to maybe 325. It probably varies with different states,
Yep.
but I know here it was about 325 for me to get it registered and everything. And it's a little long process as well. Once you pay the fee and get registered, it takes on average, I think it took me about 2 months before I actually heard something back. But I believe it said it takes about maybe 6 months for a response.
Yeah.
So I always just kind of be patient when you're doing that and once you fill out the paperwork. But also, I would say you want to make sure you fill out that paperwork exactly what you're trying to trademark, because you can't trademark something that's not, let's see here, distinctive, or something that's a little, what is the word I say? You know, I guess kind of specific
Yeah.
to what you're doing. And you definitely want to make sure it's not something that somebody else already has the name as well. That's why I refer to the trademark electronic system search or search system. I recommend first.
Totally. And I agree with that. We actually used a lawyer because there's so many categories. And the
Yes.
thing about the trademark office is if you're in the wrong category or if you're not selecting what you need to select, like you said, filling out paperwork correctly, they will just deny it and that's it. You got to pay the fee again to resubmit the application again. So if you don't want
Yes.
to lose time and money in doing this process, just hire a professional so it's done the proper way and you don't have to keep restarting the process over.
Oh, yes, I completely agree because, they categorize it as like three different types of business as well. They got like, 'cause I was going, there's like suggestive, descriptive, or I think arbitrary is the other one. There's like the two types they really look for. And if you go with something, like I said, kind of generic or already used, then it more than likely will be denied, but it's not always guaranteed. But I would say you at least want to, go with something a little bit more descriptive to exactly what you do and all the services you offer as well. And I know you could also trademark your logo, but excuse me, one thing you don't want to add is to it is like .com, .net, anything, because you actually have to pay a separate fee to file your trademark, because that'll be considered a different trademark versus you just putting just your business name, which I did not know at the beginning. And like I said, I conversed with the lawyer about it, and they said, yeah, you don't want to do that because it gives you a little bit of a broader, area reach. So that way, if somebody say, they want to do Palmetto Scoopers in some other state, well, I already got Palmetto Scoopers, period. So they can't even use it at all.
Good
Yes.
point. Now, can you tell us, Courtney, some things that you think we should avoid or, with going through this process?
Yes, yes. One thing I say avoid is trying to use any like living person or dead person name, or somebody that you don't have the consent name to use to try to trademark. You don't want to trademark anything that's been used by like government officials or anything, something crazy like that, such if you do anything. Or even if you following another business model and you're not the owner of that, you definitely don't want to try to trademark anything that's associated with that name, because I know the trademark Poop Busters is actually trademarked with two different businesses. The
Hmm.
one business, Poop Busters, actually own the part of the poop, and the other company that is associated with them, they own the other part, Buster. So I had to contact two different people and talk to them, and they both weren't on the same page. One was in Chicago or Michigan, and the other one was in some part of Texas.
And what
Uh,
state are you in?
I'm in Columbia, South Carolina.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, and yes. So that's why it was weird when I saw
It
that
doesn't
card.
need to be your neighbor, right? It doesn't need to be the person next door. It could be anyone
Yes,
that's using that name, period.
yes. Oh, yes, it could. And that was just one of the funniest things when I had got the trademark and started working towards that. Because at first, when I started my business, like I said, I was just kind of going with the flow, and I was like, oh, trademark, I don't need it. It's something for big businesses like Coca-Cola or Pepsi or anything as such. And when I started doing more of the research on it and found out it actually protects my business from other businesses that may be trying to, duplicate what I'm doing or even imitate what we're doing and use my name, I can protect my business, what I've built in our name, because, everybody know in business, your name is everything.
Hmm.
And if you let somebody, do something under your name and, that's not you doing it, that can, mess with your credibility in the work you do, as well as people trusting your brand.
Yeah.
And that's another thing as well. When you trademark, you start to create a brand. And that's one big thing, to me, at least in business, you need to be branding yourself as whatever you want to be seen as, whether you're a pooper scooper or, you do podcast interviews or different things of that such. You definitely want to make sure you trademark yourself in the right way, and nobody else is going to infringe on that as well.
Good advice, Courtney. Sounds like a man that's lived the wise world.
Oh, yes, all the
You're a man of wisdom, so you're sharing and spitting all your wisdom bombs with us. Now, although you did learn a lot from the trademark, there was a highlight. Now, your old name was not as successful as your new name. So, hey, there was a shining light out of all this.
yes, yes, it was. And that was the greatest part, because at first I was like, oh, I lost my name. I was like, it was so great. It was so great, and I already had like my theme song. I was going to be dancing around. I had green lights I wanted to put on the truck, and it all got destroyed by that. So, and, I was like, man, I could, then I changed my mindset and said, the name doesn't make the business brand. I make the business brand. Who I am and the quality of work I do. And I was like, as long as I still keep it top notch quality service, the brand will still be just as good. But the name, I guess it was kind of goofy, and in the pool business, you see that a lot. You get all kind of weird names, and I was like, well, let's change mine up and sound more professional, clean cut, higher end. And I had a lot more success. I saw a lot more clients sign up after that, and has been very successful moving on from that as well. And I always do enjoy, being able to tell people that story when they're like, oh, so how did you come up with that name? And I was like, well, originally, and
So much from the name, the experience, and look at you on the other side.
yes, oh yes, and sadly, I still got some of the magnets with the poop busters on it, and I just kind of look at it like, I remember that day.
Let's kind of talk about that with the whole trademarking and name. So you went from Poop Busters, which is just a regular name out there, to
Yeah,
the actual city that you service, correct?
correct,
Yeah.
correct.
So now your SEO, when someone's looking for a pooper scooper in Palmetto, they come to you instantly because you are the name of the city. So people don't realize the power of the SEO. I think a lot of people are starting to realize the power of the SEO. But as you were saying before, like you can't trademark your late grandma's name, although it might mean something personal to you, or a dog or cat that's passed away, which a lot of us like to do things like that. You need to make sure that, like you said, the brand is going to be yourself, but also the name makes sense. So now you saw much more success because you're easy to find.
Yes, yes, that was very true. Because, like I said, they had a different couple of locations throughout the United States. So, if someone's looking in my area, they know exactly who we are, where we're located. And like you said, we're a lot easier to find. And the SEO, small business, that's a lot of work to get even notoriety. especially when you're trying to like have little trigger words that actually have people find you. Because sometimes it's hard to find you when you're starting out and you don't really know what you're doing, and you kind of just, like they always like to say, throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping something stick. And yes, something to stick, but you ain't really getting the outcome you really wanting. And it's kind of like you fumbling through and kind of going around and trying to find something. I had that issue at the beginning as well, because the type of clients I was servicing, I have yards with knee-high grass and all kind of weird stuff, and I was just like, this is not what I wanted. Yeah, but I didn't know SEO.
I can't get the this jungle.
Yes, oh yes. I was like, this grass is knee-high. You sure you got dogs? Yeah, so. Yeah, it took a little work, and changing that name to Paramedic Schools was, I believe, the greatest thing I ever did.
Well, the funny thing is too is like people have like high grass, but then they want the pooper guy to come get the poop. It's like, well, you want the grass cut or the poop? Like your priorities.
yeah. Like call us after the grass guy come.
That is too funny. Well, I was so happy to get you on because I love your story. I love your energy. I love your personality. I love your mindset. You're so smart, if I can just say that, in just like a wide range. Like you said, you saw the greater picture. You had to take that second with yourself. You had to sit down. You got to get real. You had to get deep, get realistic, and say, all right, what I had in my heart, and I had the jam and the dance and the hat, and it was gonna be epic. But you know what? A greater being had something else in store for you, and now you are Palmetto Pooper Scoopers. You're rocking it in South Carolina, and you come into your own. And your customers obviously get this Jollibee from you that you just take care of everybody. So who wouldn't want that?
Yes, I mean, if they wouldn't want that, they definitely don't have dogs.
Exactly. Well, Courtney, how can we find you and follow you and get more into you?
All right. Yes, you can follow us on Facebook at Palmetto Scoopers or Instagram at Palmetto Scoopers. And we play around with TikTok a little bit at Palmetto Scoopers 7. It's not as much as it used to be.
You're better than me.
It's only on occasion when I feel like doing a dance move.
There you go. Amen. Well, thank you so much. It has been such a pleasure to talk to you. We will definitely connect again, because I want to keep you in the system of us just getting all your goodness, because you're so jolly. Like we just need your energy all the time.
Awesome. I appreciate it. I mean, I love being on, and anytime you ever need, just definitely reach out to me, and anyone else as well. If they need any help, anything, don't hesitate. You can always email us at palmettoscoopers@gmail.com. Just let me know you heard this interview, and I'll definitely give you any advice you need anytime.
Thank you, Courtney, so much. Really appreciate you. Have a good one.
You're very welcome. Have a great day.